Hey, Ms. Weinstein, I chose to do my final on choosing the four psychologists and saying how their theories are related to the books we've read this year. I wanted to first focus on Maslow's hierarchy as it consists of four basic levels: biological needs, safety, love and friendship, and esteem or self-actualization. The best example of Maslow's hierarchy is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Enkidu at first was described as animal-like. The story describes him grazing the grasses with the gazelles and joining them at the water holes. This is the first level, biological needs. He moves past biological needs when he is domesticated by the other men. He is taught to eat and drink properly and cleans himself up. Next on Maslow's hierarchy comes safety. Enkidu does not need to fear for his safety at this point because his strength is superior to all the other people. Enkidu then seeks love and friendship. After he fights with Gilgamesh, Ninsun adopts Enkidu and he becomes part of their family. The last level of the hierarchy is self-esteem or self-actualization. This means to achieve something that goes beyond the individual. This is showed when Gilgamesh decides to embark on a dangerous journey for the simple reward of glory. The next psychologist is Sigmund Freud. He was a psychologist who created the Oedipus complex. The Oedipus complex is a theory that occurs during the phallic stages of a psychosexual development. It involves a boy between the ages of 3 and 6 becoming unconsciously sexually attached to his mother and hostile towards his father. This is clearly seen in the tragedy Oedipus Rex. Oedipus never got to know his parents and grew up in the city of Corinth. When Oedipus grew to manhood, a prophet warned him that he would kill his father and marry his mother. Not knowing that he had been adopted and that his real parents were Jocasta and Laius, the rulers of Thebes, Oedipus left the country to avoid committing such crimes. He decides to travel towards the city of Thebes, and on the way he was ordered to get off the road so a carriage could pass. He refused to move and was therefore run over. As a result, he killed the man and what he thought were the guards. One of the men he killed was his father, the king of Thebes. Still not knowing what he's done, he continued towards the city. Once he arrived, there was a sphinx blocking the entrance, and the only way of getting rid of him was to answer the sphinx's riddle. Creon, Queen Jocasta's brother, made an announcement after the king's death that anyone who answered the sphinx's riddle would become the new king of Thebes. Oedipus answered the riddle correctly, and once Creon heard that Oedipus had answered correctly, he was crowned the king of Thebes. This completed the Oedipus complex once Oedipus married his mother, the queen of Thebes, Jocasta. Next, you have Lawrence Kohlberg. He is most famous for his theory of the 3 levels of moral development. The levels are pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. These levels have 2 distinct stages. In the pre-conventional stage, the mind is easily manipulated. They accept the rules of authority and judge actions based on its consequences. The first stage is seen when the people of Thebes and Oedipus Rex easily accept Oedipus as their new leader. They quickly follow his new rule and obey him. The next stage is conventional, where the mind continues to accept the rules of authority figures, but they also feel it's necessary to ensure positive relationships and societal order. Oedipus forms a true relationship to the people of Thebes when often referring to them as "my poor children." This shows he feels a father-like role over the people of Thebes, and they also respect him. This helps keep societal order. Lastly is post-conventional. This is where the mind starts to realize things such as basic human rights, such as liberty, life, and justice. When the people of Thebes find out the truth that Oedipus killed their king, they are in the post-conventional stage. They realize what is wrong and must have justice in the form of banishment. Lastly, I wanted to talk about Howard Gardner. His theory is that each person has different ways of learning and different intelligences they use in their daily lives. This is called Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. While no character in one story grows up learning through all the different types of intelligence at once, you can look through all the stories we have read this year and find a few examples. For instance, the Epic of Gilgamesh shows existential intelligence, the sensitivity and capacity to tackle deep questions about human life, such as meaning, why we die, and how we got here. Gilgamesh learns a very important lesson, and that's death, which is an inevitable and inescapable fact of human life. In Julius Caesar, however, Mark Antony shows his verbal, linguistic, and interpersonal intelligences when he gives the speech after Caesar's death. He is a very good speaker and uses his words to sway the crowd in his favor. He uses interpersonal intelligences during his speech to judge their moods and decide what to say based off the reactions of the crowd. Gardner's theory has many intelligences that can be seen throughout many of the stories we have read this year.